Hi, I'm Babs Hogan, and welcome to Cheese Hangouts. Today's interview marks a very first international hangout. My guest is Angel Williams, an award-winning cheesemaker and author. She is a cheesemaker living in Australia. Angel received a degree in agroforestry from Bangor University in the United Kingdom. She is living many of her cheese dreams. She began her journey working as a cheesemonger in Vancouver, Canada. In 2015, she moved to Melbourne to intern at the Holy Goat Dairy in Sutton Grange. Within that year, she moved to Tasmania and became a certified award-winning cheesemaker. In the following year, she and her Canadian friend, B. Capitan, published an iBook titled How to Say Cheese. By the way, this book recently won a Platinum AVA Digital Award, but we will discuss this in our next interview. Now, Angel is a proud store manager of Oasis Bakery in Melbourne, Australia. Now for the interview.
So Angel, tell us, how did you get started as a cheesemonger?
Well, actually, it's quite by accident. I started off in the food industry, working as a dishwasher in a restaurant, and I actually was looking for something kind of a little different. So I applied to do a stage in one of Vancouver's kind of better restaurants, and they allowed me to work there for an evening, which gave me exposure to really nice quality food. That's kind of what started off my dream. So after doing the stage, I went home and I'm like, well, now I have to get into that kind of scene. Luckily for me, on Craigslist, an ad popped up, and it was for a store called Benton Brothers. And they were asking for somebody to join their team in opening a new location as a cheesemonger. And there was no previous experience required. So growing up in Europe, I had a little bit of experience about cheese in the mountains. I used to go there every weekend. And sometimes you could go to little random huts and you could find something like yogurt or some kind of fresh cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, well, okay, I've got a bit of an idea of this, and I do like eating cheese. So I applied. I went for my interview. I thought I looked at the cheese cabinet, totally overwhelmed. Maybe only recognized one or two cheeses at most. I thought I would recognize a lot more.
Yeah,
And then from there on, it was, so I had my interview. I went home, expecting nothing great. And then the next day I got a phone call asking if I would like to join the team. So I jumped at the opportunity. And it was pretty much learn by experience. And then also spending my free time going home, looking on the internet, trying to find as much information as I could about the cheeses. Because it's, after all, when you're dealing with nice small production cheese, is that a lot of it's the story too. Who makes it, where it's from, why it was made. And the beauty of cheese too, like history, a lot of it's faith, a lot of it's kind of myths, legends, some of it's fact, but kind of gets a little twisted along the way, but sounds really good. For example, say, if you look at who invented raclette, the French say they invented it, Swiss say they invented it, someone's actually even traced it back to someone called Anton. How true that is, I don't know. But yeah, so and the joy I found in selling cheese is you get to make build lasting relationships with your customers, to hopefully get to the point where they come in and they say, what do you recommend today? Because as well as selling the cheese, you've got to eat it. So when every wheel comes in, is always the fun part. We'd always get round, crack open the wheel and then have a taste and see what we thought of it. Sometimes it was absolutely fabulous. Other times, not as good.
No.
But that's the thing of cheese, because no two wheels should be the same. And that's kind of gets lost with industrial cheeses, because they standardize the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Everything comes.
You want it to be the same all the time, right?
No, it should be nice. It should go with the seasons.
No, what I'm saying is that the larger companies want it to taste the same all the time, right?
They want it to taste the same because they say the customer wants to have the same experience every time they open a block of their particular cheese, it'll taste exactly the same.
Predictable.
Exactly, very predictable. And if that's what you're into, that's great. So another thing too about when you have you're selling kind of smaller production cheese is that a lot of people are used to the fact that it always tastes the same. So again, another part of the cheese store is always offering a taste, because it's always going to be different. And it depends on the day. You might think you're into a stinky cheese, you try it and you're like, maybe not. Maybe I'll go for something, a little different, maybe something a little fruitier or something like that.
Sure.
So it's kind of also, part of the thrill of the sell is also trying to find the cheese that they like. Sometimes get it bang on. We do like 5 cheeses and they like the cheeses you select. Other times we run around the cabinet for like half an hour and they're like, no, don't like that. So okay, so what do you don't like? Is it flavor? And yeah, so it's kind of like you narrow it down, and then for the most part, you find what they like. On 1 or 2 occasions, I had to admit defeat and pass it to a colleague, because I'm like, I don't think our palates are on the same wavelength today. So gave it to my colleague and found some cheeses they like right off the bat. And again, that's another.
Hit a home run every time you get up to bat.
No, totally not. So it's kind of like sometimes trying to fit the square peg in the round hole.
Talk to you about your internship at Holy Goat Farm in Australia, right?
Yeah.
I did some digging, and this is what I found. Can you see those pictures?
Ooh, something coming up. Oh, here we go. Yes.
Is this you?
Okay, so that's me. Yeah.
Okay, and this is at the Holy Goat Farm in Australia. Tell us about your internship.
It was an amazing experience. The ladies who run the farm, absolutely amazing. They've got it down to a T. A lot more involved than what I thought initially, because when you work in the cheese store, you're only dealing with the end product of all this hard work that's gone on behind the scenes. Okay. And then when you're on the farm, you really get to know how much work goes into making a farm-stay cheese, because you get up super early in the morning, you have to milk your animals, then you have to go into the make room to make your cheese. And then you might have a break in the middle of the day where you can have lunch, relax for an hour or so. Then it's bring the goats in, milk again, and then you got to keep that milk for the next day. And then you also have to do your evening cheese work as well. So when you make lactic style cheese, which we did at Holy Goat, it's 7 days a week. Yeah. There's not a I'm going to work Monday to Friday, take the weekend off.
When you started, did they say, by the way, this is going to be a full-time 7-day a week?
They did, but I don't think it really fully prepares you for what it really entails, because even when you're working all day, after you've been there for a couple of weeks, you really realize, well, I still haven't done this. I've still got this to do. And then, for example, doing the farmers markets as well. So that's another headache. You have to do it because that's when you really get to have fun, meet your customers, with people who are buying your cheese. But somebody has to leave the farm to do it. So
how long was your internship?
My internship was about 5 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was very enjoyable, very hard work. I would definitely recommend it to anybody who sells cheese, because I think it does add another level of understanding to what goes into cheese making.
One of the cheeses won an award while you were there, correct?
That was actually in Tasmania. I was making cloth-bound cheddar. So after my internship, I was very lucky to land a position in Pangana Dairy in Tasmania. Okay. And that's a totally different style of cheese. So in Castlemaine, I was making a small lactic French-style cheeses, like little logs.
Cow milk?
Goat's milk in Castlemaine, yeah. And then when I was in Tasmania, it was different again because it was cow's milk. So much larger volumes, like going from 300 liters a day to utilizing maybe like 3,200 in the vats, and bottling milk as well. Yeah. So I didn't have as much involved with the animals at Pangana because they employed.
You were working with goat milk or cow milk?
Cow's milk in Pangana.
Why is
and we
that?
were making. Why? Just because, well, I think, to be honest, just because traditionally, locally in that area, they brought cows over. They didn't. It's quite a lush green area.
Okay.
Castlemaine's quite dry. It's
Hmm.
near the goldfields in Bendigo. Very, very different climate. And then so in Pangana they have like some massive waterfalls nearby. So and the cows can pretty much graze all year round outside. So it's pretty much grass fed all year round. There's a
Right.
little bit of time when they're in the sheds. And so for me, this was a whole experience on learning how to use a large, high temperature, short time pasteurizer, doing like 6,000 liters a day, which is quite different from 300.
That's right.
It is. And also, the 40-pound cheddars are quite different from making little cheeses the size of the palm of your hand.
That's right.
Very different process, a lot more physical.
I've interviewed many cheese professionals. I'm always so impressed with their stories. That was interesting, wasn't it? In part 2 of my interview with Angel, we will discuss the new book and the Platinum AVA Digital Award that they received, she and B received, and that's quite an accomplishment. If you're interested in listening to more cheese hangouts, go to my YouTube channel, Babs Well Coach, or you can just Google it, and I'm sure it'll pop up. Cheese Hangouts has its own little playlist. And so take a look, watch the interviews, and let me know what you think. Until then, we will sign off now, and I hope to talk to you soon.